back to my channel. It's your girl Felicia Monique, and if you are new here, I make content all about being a mom. I make vlogs of my mommy life, inspiring you. And coming up in 2025, I'm going to share some more fashion and lifestyle content as well. Today's video is all about tips and a little bit of my background story on how to co-parent with someone who is suffering from mental health illnesses or issues. The reason why I'm making this video is because I feel like, one, there's a stigma about mental health, especially in the Black community, but also because there are things that I wish I had known prior to taking this journey. And I just want to help another mother out, okay? Or father. You might have a child with a mom who is suffering from mental health issues. So let's get into this video. Before we do that, don't forget to comment, subscribe, and share this video if it's something that you like. Share your own story in the comments if it's something that you relate to or are open to share to help someone else, okay? All right. So let's get into it. I'll start off with a little background about me. As you guys may or may not know, I have two kids. They do have different dads, and there's an 11-year gap between them. My second child's dad, my daughter's dad, does suffer from some specific mental health issues, which I did not really understand. I think that there was a moment where we did talk about the fact that he was going through some things, but I did not fully grasp what that would look like and how much of a significant impact it would have as time went along, right? And so what I realized is that as soon as someone shares a diagnosis with you, or if you're there when they get the diagnosis or somebody else tells you about it, you really need to hit the ground running and start doing your research. I didn't do that until I started to feel extremely uncomfortable, right? Because in some cases, the mental health illness may present itself in a way that feels okay. It's just a little different, right? But in other cases, it can present itself aggressively, in angry ways that make you super uncomfortable and unsafe, right? In the cases where you do feel uncomfortable or unsafe, then it starts to play on your mind of, if I feel uncomfortable and unsafe, will my child feel uncomfortable and unsafe? And so that's where I basically had to choose in a relationship if I was willing to fight for this person or fight for myself and my child. Ultimately, I ended up choosing myself and my child because I think it takes a certain type of person to be able to cope with those things, help manage those things, and also remain mentally sound and strong themselves, and then be able to show up for your other family members, in my case, my other two children, my job, my content creation, and all of the things the way that I feel like I should have been showing up. It's just started to cause me to feel the discomfort, anxiety, sadness, things like that. And then it also presented itself in angry, aggressive, and super paranoid ways that just made me feel like I can't allow my daughter to be around this, because what will this lead to? Will this lead to trauma? Will this lead to a sense of, Mom, why would you allow me to go through this? There was just so many things. And so at the end of the day, ultimately, I chose me and my daughter. Now, what I will say, these are the things that I wish I knew as a mom co-parenting with someone who has mental health issues. One, there are so many groups that you can join as either a caregiver or family member of somebody suffering from whatever specific mental health illness it is. So you can join a group that's like caregiver of schizophrenic, caregiver for someone suffering from bipolar. There's just so many different things. Caregiver for someone who's going through depression, right? In these groups, which I found mine on Facebook, in these groups, there are so many people just sharing their stories. not only are they sharing their stories, but they're sharing what medications worked, what didn't work, what hospitals are good in their area if they have to go in for a 72-hour hold. Like, there are so many people going through the same thing. And then there are other groups that are just like family members who just need to vent, right? Because there are certain things that show up and you're just like, how do I deal with this? Some people suffering from mental health illness end up suffering from addiction as well. So some of that goes hand in hand. And in these groups, they share what they feel like may have caused their family member to go through and suffer the mental illness, like the onset of it and psychosis and like all of the things. What I learned too, the second thing that I would suggest you do is research what it looks like. So if you find out that your partner, your husband, your spouse has schizophrenia, for instance, then you need to start researching how that presents itself. Because I think what we have seen in the media, on news, TV shows, and movies about a schizophrenic is not at all what it looks like in real life. Okay, like you would think, I think it was presented as like someone either having like multiple different personalities or hearing voices, and like they don't act like what we see on TV. Okay, and just read, like really read about it, learn about it, because I think the more that you learn, the better you can discern if it's something you can deal with, or the better you'll be able to like talk to that person that you're dealing with and understand, oh, maybe they're in a moment of psychosis, or this is just something as a result of their mental health illness. Because I think there were moments for me where I would be arguing with my ex, and wholeheartedly he would believe every word that was coming out of his mouth. And I knew for a fact that none of these things were true, that none of these things had happened, that none of these interactions even, so for me, it was like, initially, before I understood the disease, it was like, I would get so angry myself. Now I'm mad because you're mad about something that never happened. And I'm trying to like convince you that it didn't happen. Stop. Don't, just let it go. Try to make peace with them as much as you can in the moment and walk away. In certain instances, if you feel like your life is in danger, you really need to think about, like, is this something I can handle? I was reading so many stories about people who were being abused and beat and yelled at and called names and this and that. And it resonated with me so much because there were so many instances that I couldn't even understand what was happening. But then when I read that, I was like, oh, okay, this is how the illness presents itself. The third thing that I would recommend is if you are close with anybody in your co-parents' family, your spouse's family, or friends, and they actually are aware of the disease itself, then partner with them so that y'all can be on the same page. Usually, it'll be like their mom, their dad, a sibling, or whatever, who's already aware, and they'll be able to be hopefully transparent with you enough to say, well, all right, let me share what the plan is. These are the meds that he's supposed to take. These are the appointments that he's supposed to have. This is a therapist. This is a psychiatrist. If he needs to go in for 3 days for a 72-hour hold, here are a list of places that I would suggest taking him to that have been really great thought partners in coming up and facilitating plans. Because I feel like for me, and this is nothing against my ex's family, but I feel like I was left in the dark a lot, and I never knew what was really going on. I did not know how serious it was. I did not know how significant of an impact it would have on my life, my daughter's life, or my son's life. I was left in the dark. And if you are the family member of someone who is suffering from a mental health illness and you know that they're developing relationships that will lead to offspring or something serious, I believe that it is your duty and it is your job to step up and say something to that person so that they can be aware of how to navigate themselves as well, or decide if it's something that they want to deal with. I think everybody should be allowed to have a choice, right, in any circumstance. And so I think building a relationship with their family, so that you won't become overwhelmed with combating and fighting it alone. And I think those three things are like major key. If you decide to stay with that person, I think it's major to make sure they're taking their meds, they're going to their doctor's appointments. If they seem a little off, ask them how they're feeling. Like just really, really being their advocate. You have to understand that you are now their advocate. So let's move on to the next topic within this, which is how do you co-parent with them? You don't live with them. Yeah, I'm gonna be transparent here. I do not co-parent with mine. Due to how the disease presented itself, I decided I did not think or believe in my heart of hearts that it was safe for me to leave my kid over there at his place of residence alone. Now, there is a process that we went through that allows and stipulates that there should be supervised visitation. Have we done that? Absolutely not. I think because there is some sort of, one, there's a battle there. I think for him to accept that this is the route that I've taken. I think, of course, it's probably like a bit of frustration and anger on his end, which is understandably so. But I don't care. I'm gonna do what's best for my kid. And I will never wish ill upon him. Like if he ever like woke up and was like doing his routine, taking his meds and go to his doctor's appointments, and his family was being an advocate and communicative with me, and they felt confident in his ability to be a successful father, oh, for sure. Like I would be 100% okay with it. However, those are all prerequisites. So, because I was given full legal and physical custody of my daughter, which there's a video that I made where I give you tips and tricks on how to navigate custody cases. I know these things because I have been through these things. Okay, girl. But yeah, I was awarded full custody because of a lot of the things that happened in my relationship, in after the relationship, that made me feel as though this is the best course of action. And so when you are co-parenting with someone and you are unaware of what's going on in their household and their day-to-day, and they have mental health issues, it's best to find, again, an advocate in their family. And you can ask the co-parent if there's somebody that you believe and you trust and you know that they're gonna come to you and be 100 with you. Like, today's not a good day, I ain't feeling it. Then all right, then cool, you trust them. As for me, I don't trust anybody. I think that unfortunately there are some people who feel like it's always best to protect their own family members, which is cool, because I probably would want to protect my family members too. But when there's a child involved, I think there's a level of discretion that needs to be had in terms of navigating their relationship. I would never want a child to not have a parent in their lives, but I also would never want a parent in a child's life that would cause a detriment to their own mental health and upbringing and standard of care. And being that before the disease progressed to the level that it ended up being, and we shared what life and standard of care we wanted to provide for her, I think that that person then would look at me now and say, I know you got her, period. And so that's where I'm at, okay? I hope this video was helpful. I feel like I'm talking to one of my friends. But I think it's really hard, right? Like it's super hard to one, shut off your feelings for a person who didn't cheat, beat, lie, steal, whatever, do all the like typical things to you. And it's really hard to cut off the strings with someone because of something that they had literally no control over. And so now their behaviors are now impacting everyone's lives around them. So it is really hard, right? Like, nothing about this is easy. I'm not saying it's easy, girl. But what I am saying is that if I can do it, you can do it. It is something that, if you're religious, God brought you to this. God brought you in this situation for a reason. I think God brought me through a lot of the things that I went through as a single parent to be able to be an advocate for single moms, to be able to let people know that you can successfully raise a child, that you can deal with certain situations and overcome it and become the beautiful person that you see in your visions and not even look like you walk through the smoke of that fire, right? So I need y'all to know, yes, it is hard, but it's nothing that you can't handle, period. So I hope this video was helpful. Make sure you follow me on Instagram and TikTok, and I will see you guys next time. Bye.